Hey guys, and welcome to my first video game review. Look, I'm not gonna bullshit, I'm not gonna waste your time, I'm gonna get straight to the point. This game is awesome. Right there, the guy you just heard, that is Khotan Khan. He is the main antagonist, and he is a fictional character based on the real-life Mongol leader Kuchuli, who was the grandson of Genghis Khan. The story takes place in the 13th century during the first Mongol invasion of Japan. The story follows Jin Sakai, one of the last remaining samurai on the island, as he attempts to get rid of the invading Mongols. Jin is a well-developed character in my opinion, and his struggle is real. On the one hand, you have his uncle, who is old school as fuck, and he is all about protecting the way of the samurai and the code. And then on the other hand, you got this chick that he met named Yuna, and she teaches him how to be a thief, sneak, whatever, an assassin, whatever you want to call it. They call it ghost is what they call it, but really what it is, it's everything that goes against what Jin's uncle wants him to do. He held onto a sword.
I failed.
Alright, I think I've made it pretty clear that I like the game a lot, so let's go ahead and talk about the graphics very briefly, because there's nothing to say about them other than they're great. Look at that. That is actual gameplay. You can see all the blades of grass. You see little wisp of wind coming by. It's perfect. So we'll skip this and move straight into the combat. Each one of you are going to develop your own style of combat when it comes to repelling the invading Mongols. Here you will see a simple skirmish that I got into whenever I first started, and you can kind of see a little bit of my fighting style. And you will learn eventually that there are 4 stances, and each one is relevant. The stone stance, which is good against swordsmen. The water stance is good against guys that got shields. The wind stance is good against spears or poles, and the moon stance is good against brutes. And I'm telling you, which stance you choose to use when you're facing an opponent, it makes a big difference. Choosing the right stance will make all the difference in the world, and you will be able to knock down your enemies so much easier than if you would, like, just for instance, let's say you used a stone stance against somebody that was carrying a shield. You're going to have a little bit of a tough time. So just make sure you learn that right off the bat. Pay attention to what they're trying to tell you about the stances and use it appropriately. You can see here that I got so immersed into the game that I was taking the time to clean my blades and take respectful bows to the falling. I mean, it's just, I liked it that much. Another thing about the combat I would like to touch on is I would highly recommend that you take the time and practice swapping in between the different items available in Jin's arsenal. You have explosive arrows, heavy arrows, fire arrows, all these different types, and the quicker you can switch from a firecracker to an exploding arrow like that, the better off you'll be. I mean, you see how that just dealt with those guys. I wasn't in the mood to fight, so I sent the exploding tips at them. And you're going to use arrows a lot. You're not just going to use a sword. You can see here, you're going to need to get good with a bow. Here, you're going to face off against eagles that the Mongols have. They have on the scouts, and you need to be able to shoot those things out of the air if you want to sneak around Ronin style. Also, combat related, you're going to encounter these duels, and this is probably one of my favorite parts of the game. You're really going to enjoy this. This is where the swordplay gets pretty technical, and you're going to have to pay attention to your opponent and watch him, study him, and see how he strikes and act appropriately.
I've got it.
When it comes to the movement, I like it a lot more than games like Tomb Raider, or God of War, and even Assassin's Creed, especially even more than Assassin's Creed. It's a lot more smooth, you have better control of the character, and it just all around it feels better. Sucker Punch Productions did a really good job with this. Here you can see that the game is not all combat related. There are times when you're going to have to track people based on footprints that are left in the mud, and this is just part of the objective depending on what tale or what mission you're working on. We'll talk a little bit about the AI that you're going to be facing. They're really good. They're not dumb. If you're out in the open, they're going to spot you. So if you want to play the Ronin and you want to sneak around like the Ghost, you're going to have to be sneaky and clever and use all of your wits to get around. You're going to want to use the throwing knives that you have whenever you're encountering multiple enemies, and you want to get that set up so you can do chain assassinations. If you can get up to where you can do 3 chain assassinations, you can get a lot of stuff done. When it comes to gear and uniforms and attire, there's no shortage of that. You're going to have plenty of it. My advice is to find 2 that you like. Me, I like the Ronin and I like the Samurai Clan armor, and I focused on those 2 and I upgraded those 2 because you can get distracted with all the other ones. When it comes to missions and tales, you've got Jin's Journey that's here. That's going to be your main missions that you need to accomplish if you want to advance in the game. It tells you the ones that you have active, it shows you the ones that you have completed, and on the right you can see the rewards that you get for completing certain ones. That way if you want certain things, you can target that mission by seeing what reward is provided. Then you've got the different tales. These tales, I don't think that they're mandatory, but I recommend that you do a fair amount of them because you will get some pretty cool stuff, some pretty cool rewards once you complete them. You also have the mythic tales, and that's when you're going to get what they call special armor, but to me it's really not all that special. You're better off focusing on what you get for free and upgrading those first. And one last piece of advice, when it comes to upgrades, they will tell you, you can see the yellow emblem there to the left of the longbow. It tells you whenever there is an upgrade available. And just because you have an upgrade available, I highly recommend you don't just jump to it and get it. Focus on certain upgrades that you are after and save up and get those. Just because the game is telling you that you have an upgrade available somewhere does not mean you have to spend your supplies to get it, because these supplies can be hard to come by and it takes time. You have to do a lot of missions to build up your steel and your gold if you're trying to upgrade your swords and stuff. And on the map you can see areas that are gold. That's usually saying that something's there available for an upgrade. So just don't fall into the trap of spending all your stuff as soon as you get it. Save up and get what you want, and make sure the upgrades you do get fit your style of combat. Anyways guys, that's pretty much it for me. My whole summary of the game is that it is a good game. It is easy to become immersed in the story. I really think that you're going to enjoy it whenever you play it. Just expect to sit down, take your time, and really enjoy it. Don't try to rush through it because there's just so much to do. If there was anything that I had to complain about, it would be the fact that there's too much to do. It seemed like every few minutes I was encountering a new yellow bird and a fox, and for any of you who are like me, you got ADD or something, that can be so annoying because it's distracting from the mission that you're on, and I can't help it. I see the bird, I chase the bird. I see a fox, I chase the fox. It's horrible. But anyways, hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. If you don't mind, give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. Do this for the enjoyment. You don't ever have to worry about a bunch of ads taking over my site. That is something I can promise you. Alright, see you next time guys.